Welcome to the Parenting Power Podcast, supporting parents with the real-life tools they need to raise the confident, interdependent people the world needs. Gail Bell and Julie Friedman-Smith interview experts who share their knowledge to assist parents in creating a home environment where kids can thrive.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Real Life Parenting Podcast. I'm Julie Friedman-Smith.
And I'm Gail Bell.
And our sponsor today is Beaner's Fun Cuts for Kids. Shop online for your favorite hair products at beanersfuncuts.com. Today, our guest is the esteemed Dr. Barbara Coloroso. Barbara is an internationally recognized speaker and author in the areas of parenting, teaching, school discipline, nonviolent conflict resolution, and reconciliatory justice. She is an educational consultant for school districts, the medical and business community, the criminal justice system, and other educational associations around the world. Barbara has served as a classroom teacher, a laboratory school instructor, and a university instructor. She is the author of 5 international bestsellers, including Just Because It's Not Wrong Doesn't Make It Right, Kids Are Worth It, and The Bully, the Bullied, and the Not So Innocent Bystander. Barbara has kindly agreed to join our podcast again for part 2. If you have yet to listen to her first podcast, please go and listen. You won't be disappointed. However, she had so many valuable things to say that we ran out of time to talk about everything we needed to talk about. So we're going to continue now. Welcome back, Barbara.
Thank you, Julie and Gail. It's a joy to be here and in this crazy, crazy time of COVID-19 and all that goes with it.
Yes. Well, we're super excited to carry on with part 2. In the first podcast, we discussed so many important points about bullying. However, you wanted to spend some more time to expand on 2 areas that we're going to touch on today. The first area being teasing versus taunting. Can you explain to our listeners why it's so important to know the difference between the 2?
Yes, especially today when what our children need is our time, our affection, and a sense of optimism. And in that affection, it includes a smile, a hug, and humor. But humor must always be with children, never at them. And the way I explain it to young people when I'm working with them is teasing is laughing with someone, taunting is laughing at someone. Now, it may be with a bunch of kids laughing at one kid. But that even compounds it more, makes it more devastating for the kid who's being taunted. But we as adults can fall into that trap too and get very caustic in our humor. And so if we look at the difference, teasing allows both the person teasing and the recipient to tease back. So they're both involved in here. And taunting, it's based on an imbalance of power. I can taunt you, but you better not taunt me back. In that one-sidedness, there's that imbalance of power. It's also in teasing, it's not intended to hurt someone. We may blow it, we all do. We make mistakes. Wrong time, wrong place, didn't come out quite the way we wanted it to. But the 2 of you are obviously good friends, and I'm going to play the bully here. But Julie can tease Gail, Gail can tease Julie. One of you may be better at verbal, but the other is better at finding birthday candles that don't blow out. I, on the other hand, find birthday candles that explode in your face, mess up your makeup, and take a picture and post it on Instagram. A world of difference. There's no slippery slope. Well, we were just teasing and then it got worse. No, teasing and taunting are different right from the get-go. All the girls are laughing, one girl's crying. We were just teasing. All the boys are laughing, one boy's fighting back tears. We were just teasing, or laugh out loud, just joking online. These are all attacks. Taunting is basically an attack. It's intended to harm. In teasing, you try to maintain the basic dignity of both of you. Those candles that don't blow out don't harm anybody, and seeing you huffing and puffing away at them doesn't cause any alarm or make you look bad. Silly maybe, but that's okay because you're among friends. But in taunting, I get great pleasure in seeing you upset, trying to wipe the icing off your face, and then the humiliation of seeing it online. And that's what makes taunting such a despicable thing today, is that it can stay forever. It isn't just once. It goes on and on online. And then kids will share it back in the offline world. And in teasing, you're poking fun with one another in a lighthearted, clever way. In taunting, it's bigoted comments thinly disguised as jokes, often with the phrase, just joking, or laugh out loud. In teasing, it's meant to get both of you to laugh. In taunting, again, I'm laughing at you. In teasing, it's only a small part of your relationship. You do serious podcasts on serious topics. And when you get together, you're often talking about serious issues, but it also is a time to come together and laugh. We need humor. Humor is so important to our well-being. So laughing together is critical for our mental, emotional, and physical health. But taunting with those humiliating and demeaning comments, the laughter is directed at someone, and we're feeling good while they're feeling bad. That's not true in teasing. In teasing, it's innocent emotive. But if you ever said something to someone, it just was the wrong time, wrong place, didn't quite come out right. But as soon as you said it, their face dropped, there was a tear coming to their eye, what would you do? Of course, you would stop. What would a bully do? Keep going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's sinister in motive, and it continues, especially when the targeted person becomes distressed or objects to the taunting. And in teasing, we're so close to one another in a friendship or even in a parent-child relationship that what we do helps us both feel better. And if we make a mistake, the other person reads our upset as well, because we're tuned into one another. Does the person targeting somebody and taunting read the other person's message? Absolutely. They do, and that they get great pleasure knowing they have upset you. And that's why I always marvel in anti-bullying programs. We tell young people, just say, please stop that hurt. Oh, that's exactly what the kid targeting him wanted to hear. They get real pleasure at knowing we hurt you. And so we have to take a different look at not only teasing and taunting, but how we teach our young people to respond to that, to be able to be assertive, not aggressive or passive. Passive is, please stop that hurts. Aggressive is, well, it takes one to know one. And then we have a battle on our hands. Or in an assertive response, that was mean, that was cruel, I don't need this, I'm out of here.
Right. So the person is taking some responsibility to remove themselves from the situation, presuming that they can.
Well, it isn't even always physically removing yourself. It's saying, I'm not going to respond to those kinds of comments.
Right.
We're seeing this on the world stage today. You know, we can ramp this up to the world stage and the way people handle other people attacking them.
Yep.
It's got to be assertive. And in a home, especially when we're all together and not able to break away or take a quiet break with a walk in the park alone, it's important that we realize that humor will keep us going. One of the things in this time of chaos and loss is that we need this humor, and sometimes it's gallows humor. I have one of my grandchildren who's having a COVID-19 birthday. It happened during this time, so what is he going to do? His cousin also had one at the 1st of April. April Fool's, COVID-19, Zoom birthday. Well, Chance decided what he was going to do is make his own birthday cake with a mask on it as a reminder that this birthday was different. And you kind of look at it and go, okay. But it gave him some joy in the humor, that gallows humor, that we're going to have a mask on the birthday cake. So in this time, we just got to remember that teasing is laughing with, taunting is laughing at. And we don't want to be laughing at our children right now. We don't want our children laughing at one another. And don't write it off as sibling rivalry. Oh, you know, they've been together so much. We don't want mean ever to be allowed to seep into our dialogue with one another.
Yeah, that's true. It's easy, especially as you just said, to, oh, well, everybody's together. This is just going to happen. And hopefully it'll be better later. And really, as parents, we have the obligation to not just use that excuse, oh, well, everybody's together. Well, I mean, we can start there with a reason. Yes, everybody's together and they might be getting on each other's nerves. And so what are we going to do about it? How can we share those values that are so important to our family? How can we make sure that people are not being hurtful to each other? Let's take this opportunity to change it and make it better now as much as we can do within our homes, instead of just shrugging and saying, there's nothing I can do about this. We just have to wait until COVID's done.
Yeah, well, we'll be waiting a long time. And
Exactly.
I think that's so important that our message be that we'll get through this. It is okay to get upset. It is okay to cry. It is okay to want to wear your jammies all day once in a while.
Yep.
It is okay. And it is okay for kids to get on one another's nerves. What you want to do, conflicts you help them resolve.
Yeah.
But mean and cruel, you stop in its tracks.
Yeah.
And should it be you that loses it? Because we can. I noticed a tweet from Nicole Wallace, who's one of our anchors on a show here in the States. And she had tweeted that she was yelling at the dog for not helping out. And she realized she was losing it and wanting to know if others felt the same way. And yes, and it's okay to step back and say, I blew that one. That comment was out of line. Let me walk outside for a moment, take a deep breath, and come back in and start this one over, which says to kids, okay, if we've blown it, we're willing to own that. Now, when you blow it, we're going to give you some tools. Walk out, take a deep breath, come back in. It's always okay to start over. And we're going to have a lot of starting overs.
Sure.
And again, if kids are in conflict, that's normal. Your job right now is to help them to handle it non-violently and give them the tools. Don't be out there solving it for them, and don't be out there stopping it in its tracks, but give them the tools to handle those conflicts. However, if it's mean and cruel, we stop it.
Julie and I talk a lot about that in our coaching, Barbara, where it's like, you can have a cue word, or you want to change something in the home, but ultimately we're human beings, and sometimes we don't use the words that we hope we were going to use because we're human. So,
and we're stressed.
Yeah, the ability to stop in the middle and say, wait, that's not what I wanted to say, as a parent to a child, teaches them so much, right? That you're not perfect, that you can stop in the middle. You don't have to keep ranting on and on just because you started. And the simple, let me try again.
Yep. I had a friend who grounded her adolescent for 6 months, including senior prom. and she said, but Barb, you've always said if you say it, mean it, follow through with it.
Yeah.
And I believe in consistency. But I said, if what you said was stupid, don't follow through with it.
Exactly.
Stop and say, you know what? I said that when I was upset. I said it when I was angry. And I need some help figuring out what's a better alternative for that. You're not grounded for 6 months. Who wants an adolescent home for 6 months?
Yeah.
So you can say, let me figure it out. Which also says to a kid, when they in anger say something to you, and you hurt, you show your expression of hurt, they then get the message, oh, wow, that's what happened before. I know how to handle it. I blew it, Mom. I blew it, because we're willing to say, I blew it.
Yes. Yeah. Modeling is so important. Now, Barbara, we could listen to you talk about so many things. I really want to make sure that we have the time to get to this second topic from last time, which is, if we find out as parents that our child is a target of bullying, what can we do as parents? What are the best ways for us to support our child?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is what you don't do.
Okay.
Don't minimize, rationalize, or explain it away. Oh, boys will be boys. Girls just want to be mean. It happened to me in grade 6. You'll get over it. Kids don't want to hear that. What they want to hear is, I hear you. I'm here for you. I believe you. You're not in this alone. People who target other people want others to believe that the target is lying. And they also want to make them feel more isolated. Oh, don't hang with him. He's whatever they targeted him about, his differences. So we've got to say to a kid, I do hear you. I'm here for you. I believe you. You're not in this alone. The next thing you don't want to do is don't tell the kid to avoid or ignore whoever's doing it. And that's hard. I don't tell them to get in the kid who's being mean's face, but I don't want them to purposely avoid them at all costs, because the bully will find them. That's just what it is. And so avoid or ignore is something we often tell kids to do. And it's hard to ignore. In fact, it will eat at the child. In the 6 steps scenes in this bullying scenario, what happens is if you tell them to ignore it, it becomes the message internally rather than externally. It's not that the bully's problem, it becomes my problem. I am dumb, I am stupid. Lakoff wrote a book, Don't Think of the Elephant. What'd you just think of? An elephant, you know? So you don't want to say avoid or ignore, but what you do want to say is there are things you can do. It's not your fault. There are things you can do. And you teach them to stand up. And since most targeting is verbal, we want to give them some good lines. One of them is, that was mean, that was cruel. I don't need this, I'm out of here. And give them different adjectives, mean, cruel, bigoted, racist, sexist, whatever. So they have a whole basket of words that they could possibly use. I don't need this, I'm out of here. And giving them ways to do that. But I would also caution you, when a kid is physically threatened, there's a wonderful children's book by Trevor Romaine, Bullies Are a Pain in the Brain. And he said, if it looks scary, run. You'll look silly, but you'll look alive. I mean, bullying can be deadly. So I want kids to understand there's a time to get out of there. There's time to walk out of an elevator as an adult if you're uncomfortable. So I wanted to give them those tools. The next thing you don't want to do with your kids is say to fight back. Now, I get a lot of feedback on that one. Bullying's not a fight. Remember, there's always an imbalance of power in bullying. And the target was picked because the bully knew that they had that imbalance of power, whether it was with more kids around that would join in with them, or they're just bigger and stronger. And so fighting back is not a good thing. Defend yourself, yes. And that's with the assertive comments, the walking away with your shoulders rolled back and taking a deep breath and saying to yourself, I call it self-talk, well, that was mean and cruel. She's sure getting her needs met in a lousy way, which puts the problem back where it belongs, on the kid doing the mean and cruel behavior. And then one of the things I would recommend for parents is don't confront the bully or the bully's parents alone. Get some support from others who have had to experience this, or if your child's in school, another adult in the building to be with you and your child, because it tends to run in the family. If a kid is targeting others, they've learned it somewhere. And again, to go back to the do's, you say, I hear you, I'm here for you, I believe you, you're not in this alone, but it's not your fault. There are things you can do. And then we need to find out, who do we need to tell? If your child's being targeted today with online schooling for the COVID-19, the online bullying can be there. So watch your child's behavior. Do they not want to get online? Was there a game they love to play online with other kids, but suddenly they don't want to do it? Check in on that. And don't say, well, what happened? Say, talk to me about it. I noticed you're not playing the game. Talk to me. They know you're open then, instead of adding your own comments and hear about what they're, oh, it's nothing, Mom, nothing. Something's going on, hon, talk to me about it. And then be tuned in here, because we can't go to the school and say these kids are doing this right now. You do want to when the kids are back in their regular school settings. You want to know that there's somebody in the building you can talk to. Now, if a group of kids in a class during the online learning are targeting a kid, I believe it's important that you let the educator know that this is going on, and he or she may decide to have a quick lesson during their class meetings online to talk about this. So don't feel that you're doing this all alone if it happens to be a group of peers that your child is even attending online school with.
Well, that's super helpful. Lots of really valuable tips there. And the one that, they're all so important, but the one that really stands out is I'm here for you, right? So that's really important. Well, Barbara, we want to thank you again for your never-ending wisdom. Mm-hmm. And can you share with our listeners, where's the best place to follow you?
KidsAreWorthIt.com. It's all spelled out. The R is really A-R-E. worthit.com. And info.kidsareworthit@gmail.com. Email address. I just wanted to add as we end here, there's an old Sufi saying, this too will pass. Now, we often use that comment in the rough times, which all of us are certainly going through today. But I'd like to give you the fullness of that comment. The Sufi saying is, remember, in the good times and the bad, this too will pass.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to take time to be present in the moment and say to our kids, not rose-colored optimism, but tragic optimism. As Viktor Frankl, a death camp survivor, said, when you've been brought to your knees in grief, can you get up in the morning, fix your children breakfast, say, you know what, we're going to get through this, because we will.
Indeed. Thank you for reminding all of us of that. Oh, there's so many good things to hold on to and to notice, and that's a beautiful way to end. So glad to have had these conversations with you, and looking forward to many, many more. Be safe.
Me too. And I wish all of you the best as well. And I just look at it as stay safe, stay home, and be kind.
Definitely.
Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Real Life Parenting Podcast. If you're looking for more real life parenting tools, then please sign up for our weekly Thoughtful Thursday email newsletter. It's free and it's really good. Just visit our website, parentingpower.ca, to subscribe. While you're there, check out our book, A Year of Intentional Parenting. Like this podcast, the book was created to help you feel confident, capable, and calm. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to connecting with you again right here every Monday.